Hello everyone. Today we are going to practice making these 6 shapes, and we'll use these shapes and the process of how to make them to build a house or to draw a house. Okay, so to start off, let's go to our home location and start a new file. This is going to be a letter size. Remember, a letter size is about the size of printer paper. So we're making a letter size document. Orientation, you have the option of vertical or horizontal. We're going to be using horizontal today. Then you can click create. Okay, so if you remember, our first shape, as you can see here, is a rectangle. So we go down to the rectangle tool, and we're just going to click and drag to make sure that this shape and that all the shapes are going to be similar. When you start your document, your illustration, I'd like you to make sure the fill is white, the outline is black, and let's increase the stroke to 2 points. Everything else will stay the same. Uniform, basic, opacity, everything else stays the same. If your screen doesn't look like this and you cannot see these things at the top, you might want to check and see what the workspace is. To check that, you go to Window, Workspace. Over to the right, you go down to Essentials Classic. And that will give you all the information that you need at the top. All right, so we have our rectangle. The next thing we're going to do is make a perfect square. And to do that, you're going to hold the Shift key. You can take one finger and press the Shift key on your keyboard. And while you're holding that down, you're going to click and drag. You can make your rectangle any size, or you can make your square any size. And as long as you're holding your Shift key, it'll still be a perfect square. Okay? Very good. And the next shape, this is a trapezoid. So to make the trapezoid, we can start with a rectangle, but we are going to go to something new today. This is called free transform, and it is the 8th icon in this second column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has little white dots on a square and a white triangle. So free transform is what we want. You may have noticed that the shortcut for free transform is letter E. So once you click on this, you have these 4 icons that float onto the desktop. We're going to go down to this third one that's called Perspective Distort. Click on that, and what that will do is allow us to tilt 2 of the sides equally. So we're going to pull the top together. You can see that there are little bubbles now in the corner, and I'm clicking on one bubble and it's bringing these 2 points at the top together symmetrically. Okay, there is our trapezoid. The next shape is more of a random, kind of an abstract shape. We're going to make that one still using free transform, but we need to actually make the rectangle first. So let's make a rectangle. Then we'll go back to free transform. This time we're going to use the bottom option. It's the 4th icon in the column. It's called free distort. With this, you can individually move the corners. So each bubble can be stretched or pulled in or moved around however you like. You can design whatever kind of abstract shape that you like. Okay. The next shape is sort of an oval, but it has a flattened top and bottom. To make that, we're going to go to our rectangle tool. We are going to click and drag, but you may have noticed these circles in the corners. These are called live corners, and what you can do is click on one and drag, and all four corners become rounded. The red line indicates that that's the maximum that you can do. You're welcome, as you are doing your project today, to use just a slight curve or the maximum curve. Okay, so there is that. And the last shape looks like half of a circle. To make that one, we are going to start with a square. So you will hold your shift key while we're on the rectangle tool. Hold your shift key, make a square. And what we're going to do is only curve the top two corners. To do that, it's a little bit trickier. You're going to be clicking on the live corners, but in between clicking on the top left and the top right, you're going to take one finger and hold down the shift key. So here's the sequence. It'll be tap left corner, with one finger, press the shift key on your keyboard, then tap the opposite corner, and then you will click and drag. Okay. To make this shorter, I can move this center box up and make it half a circle. Okay. I'll repeat that. Try it again. So we will make a square. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a square. You can even just make a rectangle. Make a rectangle this time. And the sequence is tap, shift, tap, pull. So tap, one finger on my keyboard is pressing the shift key. Now I go to the opposite side, tap there, and now I'm going to pull. Okay. All right, those are our shapes. To make all of these smaller so that I can create the house, I need to go to the black arrow, select everything, release. You can see that all of my shapes now have a blue dot and they're inside of a light blue bounding box. I can touch the white square and pull. You should keep these shapes in the corner instead of deleting them so that you have a reminder of what your options are and to show the teacher that you know how to make these basic shapes. Before we start to build our house or draw our house, I wanted to give you a few shortcuts, a few key commands, so that the process can go a little bit easier for you. While you are drawing, if you, let's say I'm making a shape like this and I happen to want to select it or move it or something, if you double click a shape, the other objects will become gray, they'll become lighter in color, and you're going to see this at the top. That basically means that you are in isolation mode and you're telling the computer that you only want to work on that shape or that layer. Okay? To get out of this, you can touch the backwards arrow once or twice until it goes away. So that's one thing. If you would like to copy a shape, you can select it first. And you can always go to Edit, Copy, or if you notice, the key command for copy is Command C. So you can do that on your keyboard. Command C. To paste it, Edit, Paste. or Command V. So now you have two of them. You can move it by touching either the blue dot or the line itself. To select a group, say you want to select multiple things, you can either click and drag over them all at once, or you can hold your shift key while you click on each shape. So if I had a shape inside of here and inside of this, I could select this. By holding my shift key, I can add this to the selection and maybe even this shape. And then I Command C, Command V, and then I only have the ones that I've selected. Okay, so that's one option. And then to undo a step, say you, I don't know, made a shape and you don't really like it, and maybe you curved it wrong or something you didn't like, you can hold Command Z. So edit, undo, and this just happens to say corner radius because that was the last step I did, but any undo step would be Command Z. Z as in zebra. So I could hit that on the keyboard and it bounces right back to the last thing I drew. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so once you have your house drawn, you are going to add color. To do that, you're going to go to the black selection tool, click on the shape, and then go to this box at the top and select whichever color you'd like to use for each object. When you're done, we will select all of the house segments and then choose none for the brush stroke. This is how it should look. Okay, so now that the house has all of the color done, the final step is to select a new option here. This is called the lasso, and you can use this to circle around a group of shapes and use them all for the same purpose. So let's go to the lasso tool circle around the house and everything in it. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just some kind of outline. Okay, so when I release or lift my finger up off of the trackpad, everything is selected. And now what we have to do is remove the black outline. You go to the stroke, the brush stroke, and click on the box, and the color you're choosing is none. We don't want white because that'll give us a white outline. So you want to choose none. That changes all of the outlines to clear, and you can see that everything is ready to go. To submit this to Schoology, you will learn how to save it as a PDF. Great job, everyone. I look forward to seeing all of your houses.